Tom Cruise. He is something else. Hey, I'm Amy and welcome back to my channel. I just got back from seeing American Made starring Tom Cruise, Domhnall Gleeson, and Sarah Wright. It is the based on a true story of pilot Barry Seal, who begins working for the CIA and ends up becoming a drug mule for the Colombian cartel. I went into this thinking it was very much just going to be a biopic like the ones that we've been getting recently, which the only example I can really think of is Gold starring Matthew McConaughey, but I was actually very surprised with how they really kind of did all of it. I know there is kind of a specific formula that a lot of biopics follow that was really started with Scorsese's Goodfellas, where they have kind of the voiceover from the main character that is being followed and some kind of intercut or goes into him talking with law enforcement or something, some way how he's telling the story to other people. It's been done in so many different movies, like most recently Gold, and Scorsese's also done it in Casino and Wolf of Wall Street. So I was really expecting that's what this movie was going to be like. But to be quite honest, I was very surprised and ecstatic, I guess you could say, that they really flipped this formula on its head. I think at one point of the movie I was writing in my notes, they need to change the formula of this movie up, or the biopic formula up somehow, sometime. Like, it's just kind of getting stale and it needs to be brought back to life. And maybe 5 minutes later, with like 15 to 20 minutes left in the movie, they completely changed the way I saw the movie personally. They, throughout the entire movie, had been using title cards to show the location or kind of some important part of Barry Seal's life, along with the year that it was happening. And they were also kind of intercutting different clips of him talking to a video camera, kind of like a vlog style. And the way they kind of cut those in, or tied them all together, I guess, towards the end, was very different, and I really liked that. And I don't know if that's just Barry Seal's personal story and how he kind of delivered all of this to the authorities or what, or if it was just kind of something that the director thought of or decided to do with the screenwriters or something. Either way, I really like this change of pace for a biopic formula. Something this movie also did very differently and that I really liked was the logos at the very beginning of the movie. Usually with logos for production companies or logos for anything, they are usually supposed to be exactly specific colors. They have like a specific color palette. They can either be these colors or black and white, or these colors and a little something else. And most companies don't want you to change the way their logo looks or anything like that. At the very beginning of this movie, they integrated the logos into the late 70s, early 80s style that this movie is. And it's totally awesome. I really love the way that they did it. Like, they even took the Universal logo, like it started out as the normal modern day Universal logo, and they like kind of paused it and warped it into the 70s, 80s Universal logo, which was totally cool. And they totally wrapped all of the logos or intercut the logos kind of starting in their own, the way they are supposed to look, but then kind of warped them or kind of molded them to fit the style of the opening, which is so cool and so different. And it made the logos way less boring and a lot more bearable. And speaking of the late 70s, early 80s vibe, this movie did a really great job of not only adjusting the color palette to the kind of locations that they were in. Like when they were in Central America, they were changing the color palettes to a kind of very yellowy, orangey feel. And they even kind of brought that in but toned down a little bit to when he was at home in the States, because that is kind of the color, like the oranges and the browns are very 70s and 80s kind of color palette, and it really gave the whole film that vibe, and it was really cool to kind of see that, and it felt very era specific, which was really nice. American Made was also a lot funnier than I thought it would be. I went into it thinking that this was going to be kind of just another biopic, kind of like Gold, and I wasn't super fond of Gold. I liked Matthew McConaughey. I think it came out in February, earlier this year. I love Matthew McConaughey, but Gold was too on the nose biopic formula, and it wasn't super funny. There were some funny moments, but with American Made, myself and the entire audience in the theater were laughing so hard at like some silly stuff, but it was still so funny, and it was really good. It was really well done and subtle comedy, I guess you could say. It wasn't like super hardcore on the nose. This is funny laid out for you. It was just kind of natural thrown in there kind of comedy. Domhnall Gleeson plays kind of the CIA liaison for Barry, and it was so weird for me to see him as an American, like just with an American accent, because I'm so used to him with his Irish accent when he was in Dunkirk and as Bill in Harry Potter. It's just, I'm so used to seeing him or hearing an Irish accent out of him or a variation of a UK English accent, that seeing him with an American accent was just kind of jarring. But at the same time, it was such a great American accent. It just felt so natural coming out of him, which I think is kind of a usual thing for most British or UK actors. They do a really great American accent, while most American actors cannot do an English accent to save their lives. And Tom Cruise, he is something else. He may be like 2 years younger than my dad, and a crazy Scientologist, and might not have done some of the best movies recently. I'm talking about you, Mummy. He is still Tom Cruise. He's a legendary actor, and no matter what, he's so good. Like, even when he's in a bad movie, he still kind of is, he just brings his all and is just great all the time. Even if this was a bad movie, I probably still would have at least enjoyed it a little bit for Tom Cruise alone. That might be an unpopular opinion, but it's true. Everyone loves Tom Cruise, even though he's a crazy weirdo. There honestly wasn't too much about this movie that I did not like. There were some points in the movie where I couldn't really tell if it was trying to be just a biopic with a narrative format, or if it was a biopic trying to be a documentary format. Because sometimes there was a very stylized looking shot combined with some regular kind of filmy kind of shots that made it look like it was a documentary spliced into like an actual film. And I'm not talking about when Tom Cruise is talking to the video camera vlog style. That is completely different, and it looks different, and you can tell it's different. They put like a little time code stamp and date at the bottom, like he is talking on a video cassette tape, that you know it is completely different. So yeah, I'm not talking about that. There are some moments when it's just, there was like this one weird close-up on Domhnall Gleeson's face that was just like, it was like right here on his face. That's all you could see, maybe a little bit of negative space behind him. And it just had this like grainy feel. It looked very much like it was supposed to be on a documentary. But then it cuts to Tom Cruise, and it's a weird shot where it's just like him in between the plane, like in between two parts of the plane, and it looks very filmic. So it was just kind of a little weird, and I just, yeah, just a little, that's probably one of the very few things I did not like about this movie. And there was one scene in particular that kind of just threw me for a loop when I watched it. It has nothing to do with what's happening in the scene. It's just the way they shot it. At one point, the camera was here, and I don't know if anybody who watches these really knows the rules of filmmaking, but there was like this 180-degree rule where the camera cannot pass this line, and the camera's like here, and it's like on Tom Cruise, then it's on Domhnall Gleeson, and then all of a sudden it's over here. And it was just so weird to me, and I don't know if anybody else would notice that, or maybe it was just me. It was so weird, and I can't stop saying that it was weird and I didn't like it, because it really had no purpose. Usually when they switch on the 180 axis, it has a purpose, and I was trying to look for the purpose there, and there just really wasn't. It was unnecessary. But that's just me. Let me know what you think. So I probably am going crazy about that for no reason. But those are all my thoughts on American Made. I would give this score for this a Redbox. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there is a little description of my new rating system in the description box below. But I give this a Redbox only because I would add this to my collection, but I have, like, literally, look at all of these, plus probably more in my collection of just biopic type movies. Like, I'm pretty sure 1, 2, 3, 4 of these star Leonardo DiCaprio, and 3 of them are Scorsese movies. So, yeah, I don't need another biopic in my life. I mean, I love them. They're probably one of my favorite types of movies, especially when they're gangster movies. But yeah, I don't really need a whole nother biopic in my collection. So I would love to watch this movie again, give it a closer look, kind of break it down a little bit more personally myself, but I would only just do it through a Redbox rental. And that is everything. Let me know what you think of American Made in the comments down below. Have you seen it? Did you enjoy it as much as the critics did with their 80% on Rotten Tomatoes? And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, whoever you are. Let me know who you are in the comments down below, and let's be friends. If you're new here, leave a like and subscribe, because I talk movies, TV shows, nerdy, fun stuff. It's really fun, and I would love to talk about it with you. So stick around, and I'll see you next time. Bye!